Hi everyone. Unlike usual, I'm going to start this video review with an old proverb, specifically a Basque proverb that Alain Maric told me about. I doubt its truth, but I'll quote it to you in French anyway, because in Basque you wouldn't understand a thing. It's in March, buy yourself a March. It's March, so I'm pleased to present to you today the brand new AM2 Slim GMT Titanium Vintage, March 2025. The first legitimate question you might be asking yourself, or maybe not, by the way, is what's this vintage thing with March? Well, the reason is simple. Founded in 2009, the French brand has gotten into the habit of celebrating its birth month, March, every year, from which it also gets its name, and to release on this occasion a specific limited series that pays tribute, let's say, to the brand's DNA. So to be precise, this custom, in quotes, didn't start right from the brand's first anniversary, but in 2020, which, by the way, makes you wonder why. But maybe it was put in place to ward off that coronavirus epidemic you remember, of course, and which notably caused a drop in sales of the eponymous beer. But that's not the topic today, since the brand launched in March 2020, two initial limited series of 50 pieces each. On one side, there's an AM2 with a black PVD-coated steel case, and on the other, a Mansart with a black and green dial and a steel case. In 2021, the brand delivered us a full black AM2, this time in a limited edition of 199 pieces. In 2022, it's an AM2 again, this time featuring a bronze case measuring 39mm on each side and a glass frame, while the 2023 model will have the same features but come in a 36mm case. Last year, finally, March introduced its first watch made entirely of titanium, and I mean entirely, since no model, even partially, had ever been made in titanium. So far, it was an AM2 with a titanium case and bracelet featuring a matte grey dial accented with subtle touches of green. So here comes the 2025 vintage, the AM2 Slim GMT Titanium Vintage, March 2025. To put it simply, you could say that this limited series, which comes in a limited edition of 133 pieces, is the result of the union of the AM2 GMT. Unveiled in October 2024 and the AM2 Vintage March 2024, enhanced with a touch of slim. It's a bit complicated, but let me explain. The AM2 Slim GMT Titanium Vintage 2025, as its extended name suggests, features an entirely titanium design, meaning both the case and bracelet, with a GMT function, all housed in a case whose dimensions have been reduced. Indeed, for this 2025 edition, March has chosen to base it on its AM2 Slim. So maybe a quick word, because I'm talking to you about the AM2, and those who don't know the brand might not understand much. So a bit of history on this AM2 model, which made its debut in the March catalogue in 2012, and it comes in the form of a very architectural case measuring 39mm on each side, with a winding crown positioned at 4 o'clock. It truly becomes an essential pillar of the French brand's catalogue. But in 2022, it underwent a drastic slimming treatment, with dimensions that were reduced. The idea is, of course, for the brand to ride on the success of the model, but to broaden its customer base. For fans of smaller watches with smaller wrists, and why not to the female clientele? So the M2 case goes from a 39mm to a 36mm slim version. Its thickness it too has been slightly reduced in this first three-hand date version. The March 2025 vintage is therefore based on this version of the AM2 Slim, and we find a case measuring 36mm on each side with a thickness of 12.5mm. So we have a slightly greater thickness than what I mentioned earlier at 1225 for a simple reason. It's because we're dealing with a GMT model here, and the movement model is more important, but I'll come back to that a bit later. So we do find dimensions that have been reduced, but in addition, a design entirely in titanium. Luxury watch enthusiasts know the value of titanium in watchmaking. For the others, just a couple of simple words. The first and the primary advantage offered by titanium is its lower density compared to steel. Titanium is about 30% lighter than steel. The second advantage is its scratch resistance. Titanium is consequently a particularly cherished material in the world of watches. By the way, judge for yourself, this new March L.A.B weighs 84 grams before adjusting the bracelet size. So unless you have a lumberjack's wrist, you'll remove a few links and shed a few more grams. It's truly a featherweight. Dream of the titanium metal because there's always a flip side, but fortunately it's not for you. But for the brand, it's that titanium is a material particularly difficult to machine. Despite this, March offers us a case and bracelet with finishes that truly command respect, especially considering we're talking about a watch sold for less than 2,600 euros. So as always on the AM2, we have this succession of flat surfaces, horizontal, vertical, and oblique, which alternate abundantly between multi-mirror finishes and satin surfaces. The result is really top-notch. So I say it every time I feel like to repeat myself, but it's to encourage you, for those who might have doubts, to go to the store, stop by, and first see this AM2 in person, and try it on your wrist to appreciate its uniqueness, its distinct personality in the watchmaking world, and the impressive build quality in this price range. On the bracelet side, March had the excellent idea of offering us a bracelet made up of short axe-shaped links, which provides optimal articulation and which allows it to wrap around the owner's wrist in an absolutely ideal way. The brand also makes another particularly wise choice with the bracelet, and that's in terms of finish. The finish of the links on this bracelet is entirely satin, with only the bevel, the fine bevel. Moreover, the top part of the 10 links is polished. So you really have to look closely, but we're not called the Watch Observer for nothing. It's very subtle, but it adds a little touch of luxury to the model. And it shows once again that March truly cares about offering perfectly crafted quality products. On the dial side, March offers us a 3-level design. On the outer edge, there's a chapter ring with 24-hour markings, which the brand offers in a 2-tone version, mate, white for daytime hours and black for nighttime hours. In the center of the dial, there's a section adorned with a textured pattern that, to me, reminds me, at a quick glance, of a honeycomb texture, on which the brand's applied logo is placed at 12 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock, the GMT marking painted in green. Finally, between these two parts sits a lighter sunburst grey segment that catches the light, featuring the hour markers, with this particularity that you might know, or at least see in the images, with these horizontal markers, which can be found at 2, 5, 7 and 10 o'clock, and this date window at 6 o'clock, where, as is customary with March, the date of the 3rd of each month appears painted in green. As for the hands, we're in the realm of classic with a capital C from March, with, of course, this GMT hand at the tip, which partially incorporates the brand's logo and is painted in green. One last word, in terms of presentation, is obviously the movement that the brand uses, in this case the G110 caliber, which is a GMT version of the G100, whose origins I remind you of. The components are supplied by the Swiss company La Joux-Perret and assembled at Imberdroz, the French, and even the Franc-Comtois, since that's where it's located. The main interest of the G110, as was the case for the G100, moreover, its dual French-Swiss nationality is, of course, reflected in its 68-hour power reserve, which is well above the market average of around 42 hours, and flirts with the higher average, which is around 72 hours. So what's my verdict on this new edition? Anniversary March 2025. Well, I feel like the charm offensive led by March this year is in full swing. First of all, we have a full titanium design for optimized comfort and durability. We have this distinctive design from the AM2 collection, with this very beautiful case that has a strong personality, but nevertheless might divide those who prefer more classic and round watches. We have this very commendable build quality for a watch in this price range. We have a very beautiful dial, a high-performance movement, And finally, we have a very attractive value for money, as Marche offers this limited edition of 133 pieces at the price of 25.95 euros. That's it, I'm done with this video review. As usual, I invite you to share your comments, remarks, and questions with me. I'll be happy to answer them, and I'll see you soon for another review. Bye.